Troika Games. I don't think they exist anymore. Excuse my squeaky chair. Is that guy not wearing pants? Yeah, I'd shoot that guy too. Hey there guys! I'm Commander Useless, and today we're going to play an old game called Arcanum of Steamworks and Magick Obscura. Maybe it's Magick Obscura. Either way, I don't know if it's pronounced Arcanum or Arcanum. I'm gonna call it Arcanum because that's what I've always called it. So for those of you who have never heard of or played this game before, it is a game in style of the original Fallouts. That is to say, Fallout 1 and 2. Also, the main menu screen here looks kind of messed up because I'm playing this with a bunch of patches, namely the official patch, then the unofficial fan patch, and a high-resolution enhancement. And currently I'm playing it in window mode. But either way, you can see some elements of the main game, are available, which is not how it should look, but it's because of the widescreen resolution. But we'll take a look at all that at a later time. For now, we're going to make a new character in a new game. You get to pick one of their pre-made characters, but we're just gonna go ahead and make a new one. So it's actually very easy to break this game, I've noticed, and in some regards the game seems to expect you to break it. Like, increasing your strength to 20 would mean you have an absolute ridiculous amount of damage in melee compared to just having 19 strength. It doesn't make much sense. But to make the game challenging and still fair, as far as I can tell, I have predetermined what I should be playing as, but just to roll through them. We have a few races to choose from. We got the humans, the dwarves, elves, half-elves, gnomes, halflings, half-orcs, and of course, half-ogres. And not all of these can play male or female, like the half-ogres here can only be male. Alas, there are no half-ogre females in this world. And you got a few different portraits for each race to choose from. We are going to play a halfling. So this game takes place in what I would call an industrialization age, but it also has all these like magical fantasy aspects to it. So it's got this very strange, almost Tolkien style, but in a more modern sense. It's very odd. It's kind of like Shadowrun before the future, if that makes any sense. Anywho, I had decided on a name for our halfling from earlier. He will be named Austin. And you can choose a specific background for your character, which alters his stats or a unique gameplay mechanic tied to them. Let's see. I know which one I want, but just to show you some examples, we got Apprentice of a Blacksmith. Your master is a hard man. You gain a bonus to strength, +1, and a bonus to repair, but you suffer a penalty to dexterity due to the strenuous, is that how you pronounce that, and repetitive hard labor. We're going with a pretty, yeah, this is an interesting one, the Child of a Hero. You start with your father's +1 sword, are known throughout the land as a Child of a Hero. Therefore, you will incur terrible negative reaction for any evil act. So these are pretty interesting, but I know which one I'm going with. And some of them have specific backgrounds dependent on race. Sometimes I think there might be a few for gender too, I'm not entirely sure. But there's a lot of these. We're going for... not this one. This one is pretty good because you get +6 strength, but you lose a bunch of intelligence, willpower, and perception. But it's a nice one to start with. But we're not going with this one. I was considering this one just because it's an interesting gameplay mechanic, because it lowers your beauty score, which is basically your, well, it is your character's beauty, so it's how people will react to you when they see you. As you can see, because our beauty is 2, our reaction modifier is horrible. So initially when people see us, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy. And talking to people is quite important in this game. I just love this. You are ugly. There is no other word for it unless you consider hideous a better word. Let's see. Ladies man, the opposite. Here's what I'm gonna go with. Raised by orcs. You were a runaway orphan, homeless and starving, when an orcish family in the wilderness took you in and raised you. Their brutish ways have left you with increased strength and perception, as well as given you a slight bonus to all combat skills. Unfortunately, your upbringing has also taken its toll on your personality, and you have a severe penalty to charisma. Yeah, our charisma score is horrible, but that doesn't mean we're particularly bad at talking to people, because what you can tell people in terms of the selection of responses you have is heavily based on your intelligence. So as long as you're smart, you have more options to choose from. But having a low charisma means we can't really increase our persuasion skills and such. So that's a problem. I also can't really hire a lot of extra party members. I think I will be stuck with only one, but at least we can pick and choose which one we want. And I only know of 2 characters who can actually join you as of yet, but we'll see. That's what we're going with. Austin, the halfling that was raised by orcs. Now, I would like to change his age, but you're not... If there's a way, I don't know how you do it, because it seems impossible. But, oh well. So you have 5 points to spend when you're first making your character. And I suppose I should go over some of these stats and stuff before we get to the main game. This is your alignment meter, and actually the game explains it for me at the bottom there. Handy. But yeah, if it turns to the left, it means you're becoming more evil. If it turns to the right, it means you're becoming more good. Strength. It affects your melee weapons, and you need strength to actually carry stuff. Like, you can't equip a pistol if you have less than 8 strength, I think, because it's too heavy for you. It might be 6 strength, I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't actually affect accuracy at all. We'll get into that later. Constitution, just for poison resistance, healing, and it affects some of the spells. There's a lot of magic in this game. As you can tell, these are all spell colleagues, or colleges. Each of them have 5 spells, so that's a lot of spells. But I am not gonna be a spellcaster because it's so easy to break a lot of the more intricate parts of the plot just by using spells. For instance, the whole temporal tree is ridiculous because you slow everyone down and you give yourself haste. It just it makes the whole game just completely pointless. And spells like unlocking cantrip, which unlocks anything, it's just no, we're not gonna mess with that. Instead, we're gonna be technological. I'll get into the difference between technological and magical in a moment. Actually, it's kind of complex, but we'll get into it as we play the game, I think. Dexterity affects your speed. And your speed is basically how often you can act in battle. The battle is turn-based. You can also have it in real time, but if you have it in real time, you're doing something wrong. Real-time combat in this is really bad. Beauty affects your reaction to other people, or how people react to you. Intelligence affects several things. For technological characters, this is the main stat you want to invest in, because it's how you learn new crafting recipes. Willpower basically affects spells, because you need a certain amount of willpower to learn higher tier spells. It also gives you more fatigue, which is like a combination of your character's stamina and mana. Then we have perception, which is necessary for, I think it's for spotting traps and seeing more on the world map, as well as being decent with the firearms, so we're going to be spending points in this, because I'm going to be a gunslinger. And charisma. I will always have terrible charisma, I think. So what we're going to do is, we have these skills here, in different categories. And I'm not going to be much of a thief, yet. And I'm not gonna have many social skills. I might actually have gambling as one, because it's a good way to make money. It's a good way to buy things off of other people. So you need willpower for haggle, and I could get a few points of haggle. Heal uses intelligence. Heal is a useful skill. As long as you have like bandages and stuff, you can actually heal yourself without using magical potions. Persuasion I will never get because I need 6 charisma to get just 1 rank of it, and I'm not even near 6 charisma. And then we have technological skills, which improving these will improve your technological balance. And again, I'll get into the balance a little bit later. But we got repair for repairing weapons and armor, very useful. Firearm skill, I will be putting points into this. It's based on perception, so that's useful. Pick locks I might get, because as a halfling we got a pretty solid dexterity score, and I could always improve that to get more speed in combat. There'll be a lot of combat. And disarm traps is kind of useful. I've run into a lot of traps in this game, but they've never been deadly. Again, it's possible some in the future will be, but oh well. Okay, let's distribute our 5 points. Without any points in melee, your chance to hit things is just puny. We're talking like you have a higher chance to hurt yourself than actually hurting them. So we're actually gonna put a few points into melee. I think each one of these little squares or whatever, each threshold, gives you 15% to hit. So this little extra bit here from being raised by orcs, that should be 5%. So we should have a pretty good chance to hit with this. Not too bad. That's taking 2 of our 5 points, so let's put the rest in... Let's see, I need perception. So I'm gonna be good with guns. And I'm contemplating putting the last point into strength. But the problem is, having 8 strength doesn't actually lower the penalty to damage, or melee damage. And I think we need 8 strength to hold most pistols, so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep that at 8. Seems like a good idea. And now we're out of points. You'll notice I don't have any points in firearms. But apart from these general skills and magic, we have technological skills, which, much like magic, have their own little trees, like electric tree, explosives, gunsmithy, mechanical, etc. These are crafting recipes, and I will be putting my points into gunsmithy. So we can make the handcrafted flintlock, and the fine revolver. The fine revolver will be a solid weapon for us for the early game. And it won't be as powerful as melee, but hey, it works. We're good to go. Before you actually get into the main game and see the story and what's going on, you get the shop screen. You have 400 coins to spend, and this is your starting equipment, basically. I've never actually seen a game where you get to choose your starting equipment, except in like a game like Darkest Dungeon, where you get to choose your resources, but this is an actual shop, sorry. Chop, like a karate chop. So each weapon has its own speed rating. The lower the speed, the slower it is, as in the fewer action points you get in combat. I like to go with a fast weapon because we're pretty weak right now. For instance, there's a nicely hidden steel dagger here, which is very cheap. Has a high speed and a good 2 to 6 damage. Also, they don't do just damage, they do fatigue damage. That's the FT number at the bottom there. And the dagger does terrible fatigue damage, but that's okay. When you shank a guy, you don't want him to get knocked unconscious, you want him to die. But we're gonna buy some bullets. And I'm sorry, but it will have this horrible clicking sound, even if I click manually. But let's buy about 60 bullets, I think we'll do. Now, the reason I'm not gonna buy a firearm to start with is because, for one, they're terrible at 1 to 6 damage. It has awful range, and it has -5 to hit. It is just terrible. Don't buy this gun. That's why it's so cheap. It's cheaper than the dagger. It's horrible. You might think, oh, let's get the hunting rifle, or the rifle as it's called. But again, it's way too expensive for being kind of a meh weapon. So screw that noise. So we have 160 gold left. We're going to buy the rapier, because it has a really high speed of 15. Even though the damage is 1 to 7, I have a penalty to my damage from having low strength, so I will do 1 to 7 with it, but the speed makes up for it. And I don't have much coins left. Can I buy? Yes, I could. Just as a backup, I'm gonna buy one of these fatigue restoring potions. And now we're broke, but we're good to go. Gonna go ahead and equip that rapier, put on our fancy clothes. Gotta look fancy, you know? It is the industrialization age. Industrial age? Eh, whatever. Let's see the story. The movies are kind of small. They don't, like, resize them correctly. So I'll resize them in post. You probably won't notice a difference. I got kind of a Skies of Arcadia feel from all that.
Help. Help me, please.
Loading.
Thank you, my friend. I haven't got much time. You must find the boy. Find the boy and give him back his ring. He will know what needs to be done. Now listen to me. We had to do it. He did unspeakable things to us, and we had no choice but to do as he said. And there are so few of us left, but the work is almost finished, and then the evil. Oh, you can't imagine. He's coming back to destroy everything. Everything and everyone. Now, please, just find the boy. Tell him that I escaped. I came back to warn. He will know what to do. You, my friend, it's all up to you.
It's a guy.
Can't believe it.
There we are.
You and then the Zeppelin and the fire. And the altar says that... Do you have any idea what all of this means?
The fire! So, yes, we just spoke to what looked like a gnome. And it looks like we survived the blimp crash. I suppose we were on the blimp. Let's see here. By the gods, man! I almost died here! Didn't you see the crash?
You speak! I mean, of course you speak. What am I, a blathering idiot? Wait, what did you say? Maybe I should be writing all of this down.
So, yeah, this is the conversation system in this game. Now, I like to say that the writing is actually really good, and the voice acting for this particular character is... it's nice. I like it.
I am at a loss here. I don't quite know what to do. I mean, you are the... Oh, of course you are. I mean, you do know who you are, right? Of course you do. What sort of brainless, half-baked question is that for what do you call yourself?
I feel like putting in that clip that I sent Yeti earlier of the movie Who Am I, where Jackie Chan is screaming, "Who am I?" But maybe some other time. Your babbling is incomprehensible!
Please, forgive me. I'm making a bloody mess of this whole affair. My name is Virgil, sir, and I'm new to the Panari religion. Your religion, and wait! I, hereby dedicate, commit my life to the living one. I, Virgil, am at your service, sir.
Well, we got ourselves a slave. +1. Let's see. Quit speaking in riddles.
Yes, of course. You see, you're him. I mean, the reincarnation of, what's his name? I can never remember. And I'm always getting him mixed up with the other fellow, the bad one. You, well, you know how all of those old elven names sound the same.
Well, this guy's very helpful.
Yes, right. Just give me a moment here. You see, the Panari, that's the religion that was formed around the things that he said. I mean, that you said. Oh, forget it. Let's start at the beginning. Or this beginning, since there is a lot more that came before this. You are the reincarnation of a powerful elf, who the Panari worship, and whose name is,
Yeah?
Right. Yes, the name. Oh, wait. I remember something. It is written in the scriptures. The living one will live again on wings of fire. No, wait. I think it says, reborn on wings of fire. Oh, blood and ashes. Why do elves always have to be so damn cryptic?
I have no confidence in this guy already. The scriptures speak of a dying gnome and a ring.
I don't know about the ring, but this business about the evil one returning. As I've said, I don't know a whole lot about the Panari prophecies, but I think you were supposed to return and fight someone evil. Bloody hell, I should know more of this.
Got some good options here. If this is confusing to you, imagine how I must feel.
I would like to clear up your confusion, but I am new to the Panari religion myself. I must bring you to meet my mentor, Elder Joaquin. He can answer your questions. He is in Shrouded Hills, a town at the base of these mountains.
Well, this is not Silent Hills. You know what? Who is this guy? Who is Joaquin?
Joaquin, well, gave me a hand when I needed it. Showed me the truth of the Panari and its beliefs. He's a very wise man, and will know what needs to be done.
Yeah, okay, let's go talk to Joaquin and straighten this out.
The path out of here leading down to Shrouded Hills is down to the southeast. We'll stop by the Panari Shrine on the way out. See if it makes any of this any more clear. We should look for any other survivors before we leave, though. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, so I see that we're actually up to 23 minutes. Wow, the whole character creation thing took a while. So we'll leave this as an introductory video, and I'll just upload more later. But yeah, we're a survivor of a blimp crash. There's this crazy guy and his religion. And yeah. What does the future hold? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope to see you in part 2, and I hope you guys had a good time. See you later. Take care.